I think as Harry Potter fans, we have discovered that our collective boggart is J.K. Rowling opening her mouth again. Hi. So, on the 10th of June, I sat down and filmed the initial video, which was me having a heart-to-heart with you and telling you what my thoughts are, basically asking your opinion, explaining where I stand and asking your opinion on everything. On the 13th of June, I thought I made a decision, which for someone who is a very decisive person, normally this yo-yoing was something else, because I just kept changing my mind from one thing to another, because there are so many, I think, valid points from both perspectives. On the 13th of June, I sat down and filmed I made a decision kind of addition to the video, and now on the 17th of June, I'm sat here explaining to you how this video is going to work. Would have maybe been easier for me to refilm this and speak to you afterwards, but I think it's important for me to show these clips because they're more raw. So it is what it is, but I do apologize. It's a little bit all over the place. So the first thing I do is I obviously acknowledge that this is a weird time to be talking about this, but actually looking back at it, trans rights are Black rights. When we're talking about transgender rights, they do not exclude Black people. If anything, they affect a lot of Black people. Whilst I do think that the narrative shouldn't be here because it was kind of forced here at this time, but at the same time it's not exclusionary. And then I will go into the first footage, which is the 10th of June, the initial heart-to-heart, and then I'm going to include the 13th of June footage of what's going to happen to the magical readathon and the channel going forward, and I hope it makes sense. I'm fully aware that in this kind of situation, no matter what I choose, there's gonna be people disappointed. There's gonna be people upset or maybe angry with me or just not bothered, whichever way it goes. I just know that there is no way for me to avoid that and know that I don't necessarily know what is right, and I cannot tell you what is right. I can just show up as myself and do what I think feels truer to me. Hope that makes sense. And check the links down below as well. I'm sad here because I want to have a heart-to-heart, and I don't know if this is actually gonna be a video, but if you're watching it, then obviously it was. Also, I'm realizing this might come across really fucking dramatic, because it is just a readathon. It is just like a channel direction and whatnot. That community is like my life. That community is a support system for many. And so if you're coming from the outside of the community, this is gonna be very weird. Just so you know. I would have normally uploaded this earlier, but I really hate, and I feel like this is one of the reasons why it's so vile. I really hate to be uploading this where I think that the narrative should be elsewhere at the moment. Black Lives Matter is still going on. It's not gonna ever stop, but it's still going on full speed. And I will link the same link I linked in the previous video for the petitions, for the donations, for everything. I'll link some of the YouTubers who have spoken about their experience. So, but I also think this is important for me to say out loud to you. I also think it's important for me to just have a heart-to-heart with you. I have not come with notes. I also have caffeine next to me, which is definitely not what my anxious ass needs. And that's once more why I'm not a Ravenclaw. The author of Harry Potter has sucked for a while now. Understand that she has done a lot of charity work. I understand that she has done a lot of right. That does not excuse, in my eyes, tweeting stuff insinuating that trans women are not women, that trans men are not men, although I think she's very focused on the women part. You cannot say, I support trans people, and follow it with a but. If you are writing, I support someone, and then follow it by but, rethink. Rethink that bit. I know there's gonna be people saying this is just her opinion, the freedom of speech, why are we all so pressed? We're fighting for freedom of speech by silencing others. I know there's gonna be these comments, so I just want to address something. She still very much has freedom of speech. Twitter has not taken her tweets down. Police has not barged in. She is not charged with anything. She has freedom of speech. That does not mean that her speech goes without consequences. I am sad, however, that the communities who are the most accepting I've ever met are the ones caught in the consequences as well, which is just one of the things that is flying in my brain. Is all very frazzled, and kind of apologize in advance because this video is probably not going to be very noise quality. So I also feel like I need to preface that I might use humor throughout the video, but do not mistake that for me being amused. It is just one of my coping mechanisms, and we just gonna go with it. Another thing that I want to make extremely clear, that this channel, that this community, magical or otherwise, will forever and always be an LGBTQIA, my brain always struggles, plus safe space. Everyone's welcome, everyone is valid. I am myself a bisexual, but I am a cis woman, and I will never understand the struggle that trans people have to go through, because I can only imagine the lack of readily available help, and the judgment and just the ignorance of people can be so detrimental, and trans people are honestly one of the most vulnerable groups. So for her push her agenda that is so just warped and weird is sick. It's sickening to me. It's sickening, it's hurtful. This is gonna be an odd video to edit, but since I filmed the we're too close since the last video, JK Rowling posted an essay. I don't think that it's actually coming from hate. I think it's coming from fear, but it doesn't matter. Regardless of that, it is not something that aligns with my personal view. It is not something that really aligns with our magical readathon community at all, and most other Harry Potter communities. I am personally of a mindset of separating the author from the work, but it is a bit more difficult when the author is still alive, and even more so difficult when you have a platform, because that is your responsibility. What I want to point out is that it's not new. It happened before. To not accept the pronouns that transgender people and everyone who falls under the umbrella term of transgender is to invalidate their existence. The reason I'm making this video is because obviously my channel is very heavily based on Harry Potter. Harry Potter has been an escape to so many of us growing up. I have never had a friend growing up who was reading and like so into Harry Potter like myself. Had a couple, but I mean, to match the level, you know, there's not many of us in like square meter. So when I found this online community, it was everything. I have created the magical readathons, and they were obviously based on Harry Potter, and I opened Harry Potter boxes, though I will say, other than Loot Crate back in like 2018, none of them are licensed, so none of the profits actually go for her, so at least that. But I also separated the author from the work a really long time ago, because even before she started saying this kind of stuff, like, I didn't always align with her views, and I just think that she says a lot of stuff that I just personally don't agree with, which is fine. This one's not fine, but in general it's fine. So I have taken her out of the equation in my mind from Harry Potter a long time ago, and if I hadn't, I wouldn't have created the magical readathon. So on one hand, it's like kind of funny to me that a lot of people are like now taking themselves out of Harry Potter in general and saying that you cannot separate the author from the work, but they haven't done that before. So it's a bit weird. But on the other hand, I totally understand people just having enough and having more and more difficulty separating the author from the work, because I'm in the same boat. That is why I'm here. I'm in the same boat. The thing that is a struggle that a lot of us Harry Potter fans, we go hard. We have our Harry Potter community, as a family. We are there for each other when we cry. We are there for each other when we have identity crisis. We are there for each other when we're questioning our sexuality. We are there to hold each other's hand because we have learned from Harry Potter series what empathy is, what friendship means, what how to fight injustice and not to give up, to always be hopeful even in the darkest of times. I don't think that we ever really thought that the thing we were gonna collectively fight is the author who wrote the series. This shit hits very different. I have spoken with my community and people from outside of my magical readathon community who are parts of other Harry Potter communities. A lot of people are just having a very hard time. It's a lot more. It's a lot more than just childhood nostalgia for a lot of people. To me, being Harry Potter is a bigger part of my identity than being Lithuanian. For some people, the stories were an escape that saved their lives. A lot of people have based their lives around it, me included. And even though I and a lot of other people, I think probably most of the Harry Potter community people, separated the author from the work, thing is, she is still kicking. She is getting royalties if you buy licensed merch or view the movies in the cinema or buy the movies or buy the gazillion of new editions of the Harry Potter books, which I have always been very kind of skeptical of, because it seems to me like they're just exploiting fans with a series that has finished and they just want to cash in a bit more. You heard me say that before. I am not afraid to criticize Harry Potter, but it doesn't diminish the meaning of it. I am, however, concerned that my readathons might make people buy Harry Potter books or merch or fall a bit more back in love with Harry Potter and by extension somehow support her. That is a big concern for me at the moment, because I don't want anything to do with the woman. I just don't. I'm tired, I am hurt. I always feel very protective of the community members that I have gathered or that they found me. I want to protect everyone in my community. I for sure don't want to send any extra funding to her. Not that it would make a difference, to be honest, but it does not align. It makes me uncomfortable. If we all decide to keep this, I can take steps to make sure that this risk is minimized. So I can preface every single video that has anything to do with Harry Potter inspired content. I can preface it with stating that we as a community do not stand for her, we do not stand what she says, everyone is welcomed, and we strongly discourage anyone from, because who am I to say what you should and shouldn't do, but like I can strongly discourage people from buying official merch. There are secondhand shops, there are so many unofficial independent stores that base their business around Harry Potter. I can make sure to include way more queer prompts in general, but obviously I can do that even if I change the theme, and I plan to include that regardless, and maybe even organize some sort of fundraiser every time we do a magical readathon, just as a big middle finger to her, but also as a very clear stance of where we stand as Harry Potter fans, and just kind of taking down the bigotry from within. That being said, I don't know that that's the right thing to do. I don't know. I don't want to... Any type of talk about Harry Potter, in a sense, is in indirect support of her, because it still is talking about her material, but I know that we are fans are completely separate from her. Our community shouldn't be punished because of what she does, but at the same time, Harry Potter legally is her intellectual property. And to be fair, I have gotten to a conclusion that I will change the readathon, keep it maybe similar, and but take all of the Harry Potter out of it. And then I wrote a very long paragraph on Discord, to the Magical Family Discord, saying all this and wanting their input, and also just kind of preparing them, because I know this is a valid support system for a lot of people. And Harry Potter is what bonded us together. Like, I can't deny that. It's just what it is. Obviously you guys were very understanding. Some said that they would leave if it was not Harry Potter anymore, which is totally fine. I totally get it. Like, if that's what you're there for, it makes sense. Some of you said that you don't mind. Some of you said you would like it to be the same because the community is not to blame, obviously, and they are accepting. I've never met anyone more accepting than the Harry Potter community. I mean, I can't speak for all of the Harry Potter communities. I've seen the same sentiment going around this time, and I know that obviously they are only Harry Potter communities. They are only Harry Potter, like, well, I still have books, but they are only Harry Potter communities, and obviously they're not gonna disband because of this, because they are also creating spaces for everyone to be welcomed, and it's queer as fuck, to be honest. Like, a lot of us are. Obviously I'm gonna try to preserve the community regardless of which way we go, and I know a lot of people will try and continue even if it does change, which is amazing. So as I said, I have already gone with the mindset that this is gonna change. It's making me very uncomfortable. I'm worried about the members, and was all confused again because, to my actual surprise, majority of the transgender magical readathon members urged me to keep it, urged me to keep the safe space where they can also attend Hogwarts because they fucking belong there. I obviously have to look at the bigger picture though as well. I really feel so responsible for the safety and for the comfort and for the security of my community. I want to protect everyone, and there were a couple who said that they couldn't continue if it was Harry Potter. I have to be honest, I do lean towards changing it all, but I feel an extreme sense of failure if I do this towards the people who asked me to provide the safe space. As a side note, I am so happy that so many people already felt that way, that so many people found the space, that so many people felt welcomed. So I didn't know that we have that many transgender members, and I've spoken to them on Discord, I've spoken to them in the DMs, and thank you so much for those who were comfortable to come to me and tell me your point, no matter which way. I really want to stress this out. I do not have a right answer. I do not expect you to say keep it. I know, obviously, I know I put a lot of work into this, but it's not about that. So basically, I have a lot of conflicting feelings. On the other side, I can totally see why people are angry. I can see it and I feel it, and I don't want to give her any more attention. I don't want to be associated with her. And I don't know, I will never obviously be able to create a world that has such a meaning to everyone, like, and nothing can if you didn't grow up with it. It didn't save you when you needed saving. It didn't offer you escape, so I can never replicate that feeling, I'm aware. And I might completely fail at building another readathon that is completely just made up. It would still be magical readathon. Thankfully, I didn't name it something like directly from Harry Potter. But we could still have the community. We could still do something. We could talk about the stuff that we wanted to talk about and read books together. I would still try and work up something extra like I always do with the printables, and we would also still have the trackers. Obviously all the Harry Potter quizzes and the Quidditch and whatnot would not be there, and obviously it's not the same, but we could still have something without attracting any attention to her and without having any association with her. If we are being absolutely honest as well, I am afraid. Like, I'm a big girl. I can handle things, but I also, probably all of you know that I have mental health disorders. I have a plethora of them. I am in therapy, and I have recently been diagnosed with a breathing disorder in the midst of a respiratory pandemic. So I have some stuff taking my mental space already, and honestly, I'm a little bit afraid that she will continue saying stuff, and that we, even though not directly, although honestly sometimes directly currently, but I don't know if people will be pressured or judged for staying with the fandom. I don't know. And if I will also have a lot of fires to put out or a lot of points to defend and how often, and maybe she'll even apologize, but I wish that we did not rely on someone so outside of our control for our own mental well-being. On the other hand of that, would our mental well-being be lower if we kind of semi-dismantle the community and the spirit of Harry Potter that we have and hold dear to our hearts? So I just have a lot of conflicting things. And I am also not transgender, and I want to do my transgender friends right. The things she's doing, they send hate towards a very, very vulnerable group of people, which is just vile. And I do not understand how an author who wrote such hopeful books can do that. Granted, like, the books are not perfect. For sure they're not perfect. But the messages at the core are those of love, for me at least. And the work, as far as I know, is not inherently transphobic. If it is, please tell me, and there's not gonna be any more discussions about this. But as far as I know, there's nothing inherently transphobic that seeped in through the Harry Potter specifically. For those feeling really shite at the moment, this is not your fault. Unless you hold like similar beliefs, and then I don't really know what to say to you at the moment. But like, this is not your fault. You can't control what she tweets. You being a Harry Potter fan came way before she made an account on Twitter, in most cases. Keep your books, keep your merch that you already bought. I would probably suggest maybe not buying more official merch, but keep the stuff you have. It has meaning to you. The meaning of it doesn't change. Just because I met someone because they're a fan of Harry Potter, all of a sudden it doesn't make that friendship less valid, less real, and less meaningful. It is totally okay to keep the stuff, keep the books, keep the escape if you need it. I know I just can't. I don't know how to be someone else. It's too big of a part of me for me to remove it from my brain. It's so ingrained in who I am as a person that it's quite impossible to detangle myself from that. Obviously I'm not just a Harry Potter fan. I have other things in my identity, but it is a very substantial part, and maybe over time I could phase it out, but currently I can't just decide, oh, it means nothing to me. Like, it's just not how it works, at least not for me. If you are feeling a bit shit and hurt, at least our Harry got our backs. There was an article which had a response from Daniel Radcliffe on the Trevor Project, and he puts it very truthfully in way less words than this rambly video. I will link it down below, and I hope you'll find a little bit of solace in that one. What she says, what she does is her responsibility and absolutely out of my control, but this space is what I control and I have to take responsibility for that. But I think I have made my decision. So I want to make a couple of things clear. One, I do not associate her with the community. I understand that she wrote the book, her name is on the book. I understand that this is her intellectual property, but when I say that Harry Potter belongs to us, I mean the community. And that majority of the community is, like, a vast majority of the community are really accepting, wonderful people, and I want to keep that community. However, I don't think that I am any longer very comfortable of putting Harry Potter in my channel as much as I have been. Even with all of the disclaimers and everything, I still cannot guarantee that people would not rekindle their love or remember the passion that they had for Harry Potter through the unboxings and the magical readathon, and then go ahead and buy some stuff. And obviously that is not my responsibility, but it is a possibility, and it doesn't really sit well with me at the moment, because this is an author that is still up and running. Obviously it might be some changes in the future and I will reassess accordingly, but at the moment I just don't feel comfortable. I just don't feel comfortable. As much as this is my part of my everyday, part of my person, very much more than nostalgia. It is just not as important. I want to be clear that this is a very personal choice for each Harry Potter fan. It's not something I can chop out of myself, but I can limit how much I show it here. I will not be binning my books, I will not be binning my merch, I will not be binning my clothes or anything like that, because that money is already spent and because the story means too much for me. As Daniel Radcliffe said, no one can take that from me. The connections are valid, the friendships are valid, and hopefully the community is here to stay, but things are just gonna be a little bit different. Now, trust me, no one is as fucking sad about the change as I am. I have put my heart and soul into creating this readathon. I know a lot of it deviates from Harry Potter already, so that's all good, but also at a core it's still Harry Potter based, and I want to keep so my plan currently is to keep it similar structure but completely reinvent my own world. Just to reassure you, because I know a lot of people really hate starting something and not being able to finish, and I wouldn't want to leave you hanging. I will be hosting the news, however I'll be doing it very differently. I don't want to do it super publicly, I want to just do it within our community, which will be in a Discord. So I will not be actually making an announcement video for this one, but I will be making the printables, I will be making the prompts, obviously I haven't decided much of this, but I don't know, I might or may not post a video, or I might post it as an unlisted link, so only people who already want to do it know how to find it. And we're basically going to hang out in a public but more private space, which is a Discord for us. It's already been a place, or was it 2017 or something? 18? I don't know, 17? Whatever. It's the 3rd year of this going, so it's already pretty populated, but if you're not been there, I would suggest doing that. Or if you just want to do it by yourself, I will provide the prompts, but I will not be hosting it in the way that I usually wear. But yeah, going forward, so that is pretty much this year. I don't anticipate myself doing any smaller ones in the meantime, and a similar story for the little one that's supposed to be literally next week. I think I'm going to maybe do a couple of sprints on Discord, but overall it's probably just gonna be like, you have the material if you want to do it. I am so sorry, but I just don't have it in me to do it. I have to figure out some stuff out. This has been such a massive part of my life. I have complicated feelings for it at the moment, but it's also been a massive part of my online life, and I'll see if I can do it without, and if not, then I might just like simmer into the distance, and that might be that. I don't know. This channel, a lot of it was Harry Potter. A lot of you were here for Harry Potter, and I assume a lot of you will say goodbye to the channel, which is totally fine. I get it. So we'll just see. We'll take it slowly and we'll see. But hopefully I'll manage to come up with some sort of world. Obviously I can't compete with Harry Potter. I simply can't. Like, it can't be done. I will try to make a readathon that is still engaging, that still has the same like 2-step program of, you know, having the classes and everything, but I want to make it a bit of a university vibe rather than school. It's still gonna be magic, it's still gonna be fantasy. I mean, all of this is just, nothing is set in stone, so I don't know exactly how it's gonna be, but that is the kind of vibe. So if you're worried that it's gonna change too much, I'm hoping to kind of keep it like, change stuff but keep the same idea. And hopefully I can integrate some of the work that I already done into that, so it carries, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. But hopefully that's gonna be ready for next year. I don't know, we'll see. As for Harry Potter unboxings, all of the boxes are basically small Etsy shop independent items, and none of the profits go to JK Rowling. But I think if I'm moving my channel away from Harry Potter kind of overall, I will be discontinuing those as well, but I will still probably be purchasing some of these boxes for myself personally. And for my own kind of sanity, I need some sort of outlet for Harry Potter, at least for now. So my plan is to post those videos on my Patreon. So I will be asking the Patreons if they're all okay with it, because I don't want to trigger anyone, and that is the main reason why I don't want to continue with the Harry Potter content for at the moment on my channel, because I just don't know who's gonna stumble on it, and I don't know if it's triggering for them, and I just don't want to be the person triggering them. As I grew up with no one to share this, and when I found this, it meant more to me than I probably ever really vocalized, because I thought it was kind of self-explanatory. I mean, I made the whole readathon in spirit of that. I need some space. Personally, Patreon is a small space, and everyone there is already a Harry Potter fan, and I've spoken to them, and I will ask their permission to share this, and I'll make it very clear that there's Harry Potter content if you sign up. I'll take all of those steps. Well, I still want to have a space to share that safely and celebrate the story that taught us to be the people that disagree with what she's saying now. Please also don't feel like this is me like, go to my Patreon if you want to see Harry Potter content. Absolutely not. There's a lot of YouTubers who do that on YouTube, and it doesn't require you to do any type of payment. That is just kind of naturally becoming a perk of the Patreon thing, but there's so many other creators that do Harry Potter stuff, that are still doing Harry Potter stuff. That is not that at all. It's kind of for me. It's a selfish thing, and I know that there's a lot of people there as well who feel the same way, so we're just gonna therapy each other that way. Anyway, so my plan is to have some Harry Potter content and have that kind of outlet on my Patreon, which is still very Harry Potter based. All the tiers are Harry Potter based. I mean, everything in my life is fucking Harry Potter based, so this is just a lot to me at the moment, but it is what it is. Another reason why I'm doing this is that even though the majority of the transgender magical readathon folk were asking me to keep this, there were a couple that said that they would understand it, but they wouldn't want to continue, or they couldn't continue, which is absolutely understandable. And hopefully, and I am so sorry for those who did ask me to keep it, but hopefully they will also be okay with the change, and then we can all participate. And I will also create a Harry Potter channel on Discord where people can choose to go and talk about Harry Potter, but also those who do not want to talk about Harry Potter will not have to see the messages. And I hope that that's a good compromise. I'm just trying to find the good overall compromise, at least for now. I'm not saying that I'm saying goodbye to Harry Potter online for forever. I'm gonna take it as it comes and see what happens. I mean, JK Rowling is definitely not the only problematic author. Most of the people, loads of literature that is good literature is problematic, and it's important to acknowledge that. And also, even more so, a lot of authors are were problematic, and I think it's just a bit different because she is still with us. She is still alive, and obviously this is not an author of the past. She is currently still publishing stuff and still talking. And to be honest, I also don't want my whole, because you should, if you're outside our magical readathon, you should see the community currently. I'm so thankful that we're all being so kind to each other, but there's a lot of hurt going on, and I don't want to rely on another author. I want to create my own world so that they cannot fuck with it, so that you guys and me are not in the same situation again. And I think that's just the way to go at the moment. But like, knowing me, this is where my headspace has been recently. Even though I've been going like back and forth for a lot of this, I'm thinking this is the way that I'm gonna go. I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys are okay with it. At the end of the day, it is my decision, but I of course care about you as well. So I hope that's fine. Am I confident in my ability to create another readathon from scratch that would still be as engaging? Not really, but I will try my best, and I'll see where I am. I can't promise that I will, but I can promise that I'll try. And if I fail massively, then like, I mean, I don't have to do it. But anyway, I'm trying to look at this in a sense that, you know, it's a new challenge, it's gonna be weird. You're still probably gonna be able to see like Harry Potter stuff around my flat, because a lot of it is. I'm not going, as I said, I'm not gonna bin stuff. Yeah, I'm sure that at some point I will get excited about this whole idea. Currently just a bit in the feelings. As for JK Rowling, I hope she gets some assistance with her trauma. It is absolutely unfortunate and heartbreaking that she has experienced it. However, it doesn't justify further traumatizing already vulnerable group of people. My channel and my space and my readathons, as I've said on the Twitter there, will forever be welcome to every sexuality, every gender, every identity there is. The only thing we don't tolerate is bigotry. Yeah, this is a weird video. So I clearly have some stuff to figure out about a lot of things. I might not be uploading as frequently at the moment. I have a birthday coming up and I've not read in over a month now, I think. So there's just like, that is what the silence is for. I will continue signing the petitions, as should you, because Black Lives Matter is not a controversial topic. I'll link some resources as well as some transgender supporting charities. I think that's it. I think I need to just shut up. I'm so sorry this is gonna be long. I will most likely not have spoken very eloquently. You know, my messages are always open. I sometimes very much suck at replying to them, but they're open, and the magical Discord I will link down below has so many people that are going through similar things, and I think it is worthwhile if you want someone to talk to go there as well. I love you all very, very much. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I will speak to you later.